The night sky of the alien world was not silent. Red moons hung above, and the ground shook as ships passed in the distance. In the middle of the village, a little alien girl knelt beside her mother. Her mother's skin was pale, her breathing slow, her voice weak. "Stay with me, Mama," the girl whispered. Her small hands trembled as she tried to hold the life that was slipping away. The mother smiled faintly. Her eyes were tired but kind. "Little one, you must be strong. When I am gone, you must find safety. Promise me." The girl shook her head again and again. "No, I will not leave you. Please don't go." Her voice broke into cries, but the mother was already fading. Around them, the villagers watched from a distance. Nobody came forward. Nobody helped. They were afraid. Everyone knew the law. When a guardian died, the child was no longer free. The galactic law was clear. No orphan could remain without permission from the council. If no one claimed the child, the patrol would arrive and take them away. The girl knew what that meant. She had seen it before. Orphans disappeared. No one returned. Her mother lifted one last breath. Her lips moved. "Live, my child. Live." Then her hand fell cold and still. The girl screamed and held her mother's body. Her tears ran down her face. "No, don't leave me." "I'll do anything, just stay." But there was only silence. From the edge of the crowd, 2 patrol officers stepped forward. Their armor shone under the moonlight. One spoke in a cold mechanical tone. "The mother has passed. The law will now take the child." The little girl froze. Her heart pounded. She looked around at the villagers. She cried out, "Please, someone take me. Please, I'll work, I'll serve, I'll do anything. Don't let them take me." But no one moved. Every eye turned away. No one wanted the patrol's anger. The officers walked closer. One reached out with a metal hand. "Come quietly." The girl stepped back. "No, please, I want to stay. I want to stay." She looked around wildly, searching for anyone who would save her. And then she saw him. At the edge of the crowd stood a tall figure. His face was not like theirs. His skin was pale, his eyes human. He wore the dark coat of a traveler, and a small emblem of a healer shone on his chest. His name was Elias, a human doctor who had come to the colony only weeks ago. Most aliens kept their distance from humans. Humans were different. Too emotional, too rebellious, too dangerous. But in that moment, Elias did not look away. His eyes met the girl's desperate gaze. She reached her hand toward him. "Please, help me," the crowd gasped. Whispers filled the air. She called to the human. "He cannot interfere. It's against the law. If he acts, the patrol will punish him." The officers turned sharply toward Elias. "Step aside, human. This matter is not yours." Elias did not move. His jaw tightened. He saw the girl's small hand trembling in the air. He saw her fear, her grief, her hopelessness. He had seen too many children abandoned to rules written by cold leaders who never cared. The patrol officer repeated louder this time. "Stand down. This child belongs to the council now," the girl sobbed. She fell to her knees. "Please, don't let them take me. I just want to stay. I don't want to disappear." For a moment, time seemed frozen. The villagers held their breath. The patrol raised their weapons. The girl's hand reached out once more, and then Elias moved. He walked forward slowly, his boots heavy against the stone ground. He stopped between the girl and the patrol. He bent down and lifted the child into his arms. She buried her face against his chest, trembling. The crowd gasped again. The patrol's helmets glowed red in warning. "You are violating the law," one officer said. "Release the child at once." Elias looked at the officers. His voice was calm but firm. "No, she stays with me." The officers raised their weapons. "You dare defy the council?" The human whispered softly so only the girl could hear. "You don't have to beg anymore. You can stay." The girl looked up at him with wide, wet eyes. "Stay?" she asked weakly, as if she could not believe it. Elias nodded. His voice was steady, filled with something the officers could never understand. "Yes," he whispered. "You can stay forever." The words echoed in the night. The villagers stood frozen, torn between fear and awe. The patrol aimed their weapons, but Elias did not step back. He held the child closer, as if his arms were stronger than the whole galaxy's law. And in that moment, a silent war began. The girl was no longer alone. The air was tense after Elias spoke those forbidden words. The patrol officers stood still, their red lights flashing, their weapons ready. The villagers did not dare breathe. Everyone knew what had just happened. A human had broken the galactic law. But Elias did not step back. He held the girl tightly in his arms as if she were his own child. His voice was calm, but his eyes burned with quiet fire. She is mine now. You will not take her. The patrol scanned him, cold voices echoing. Human Elias, you are warned. This is your final chance. Hand over the orphan or you will be punished by council decree. The girl trembled in his arms. She whispered in fear, they will hurt you. Because of me. Elias lowered his head close to hers and said softly, don't be afraid. I promised you, didn't I? You will stay. The officers raised their weapons, but before they could act, Elias touched the device on his wrist. A burst of white smoke filled the air, blinding the crowd. When the smoke cleared, both Elias and the girl were gone. Far away, deep in the colony's outskirts, a small medical ship powered up. Its engines hummed softly in the dark. Inside, Elias placed the girl on a narrow bed and covered her with a blanket. She looked around, wide-eyed, afraid but also amazed. Where are we? She asked. In my ship, Elias answered. It's safe here. No one will touch you while I breathe. The girl clutched the blanket. But the law. They will come. Everyone obeys them. No one fights them. Elias gave a small smile, one that carried both sadness and strength. Humans don't bow to every law. We choose what is right, and right now keeping you safe is the only law I follow. The girl stared at him. His words were strange, but she could feel something real in them. Something warm. No one had ever spoken to her like that. Elias began checking her with his scanner, making sure she was healthy. You haven't eaten, he said. Your body is weak. You need food. He walked to the storage unit and returned with a small plate. The smell was rich, unfamiliar to the girl. She hesitated, then tasted it carefully. Her eyes widened. It was warm, gentle, and unlike anything she had eaten before. Tears filled her eyes again. I thought I would starve. No one gave me food after Mama. Elias placed a hand on her shoulder. His voice was steady. Not anymore. I'll make sure you never go hungry. For the first time since her mother's death, the girl felt something new. Hope. Later, when the girl was resting, Elias sat in the pilot's chair. He stared at the dark stars outside the window. He knew the patrol would not stop. They would search every corner of the colony. He had broken their law, and for that they would never forgive him. But he also knew one thing clearly. He could not leave her. Memories stirred in his mind. Years ago he had lost someone, a child, fragile and innocent. The council's rules had cost him dearly. He had sworn never again to watch a child suffer because of cold laws. And now fate had placed this girl in front of him. He would not fail her. The girl woke from her rest and walked quietly to him. Why did you help me? She asked. Her small voice broke the silence. Elias turned his chair to face her. His eyes softened. Because you needed me. The girl frowned. But you don't even know me. Why risk your life? He took a deep breath. Because no one else would. Because your mother's last wish was for you to live. And because sometimes a human heart cannot walk away. She looked at him, studying his face. Slowly, she whispered, then, can I call you something? Not doctor, not human. She hesitated, then smiled shyly. Can I call you Papa? The word struck Elias like a blade and a blessing at once. For a moment he could not speak. His chest ached, but it was not pain, it was something deeper. Finally he nodded. His voice was quiet. Yes, if that makes you feel safe, you can. The girl's smile trembled and tears ran down her cheeks. She wrapped her small arms around him. Elias held her close, whispering once more, you can stay forever. But peace did not last long. A sharp alarm echoed through the ship. Red lights blinked across the panels. Elias rushed to the controls. They've found us, he muttered. The girl gasped. The patrol? Yes, he gripped the steering. They're scanning every ship leaving the colony. We'll have to run. The engines roared to life and the ship lifted into the sky. Through the window, the girl saw the patrol's dark ships rising behind them, lights glowing like hunting eyes. Fear returned to her face, but Elias's voice was steady. Hold on tight. I made you a promise. I'll keep it no matter the cost. The chase had begun, and the galaxy itself seemed to know that one human's promise had just declared war on the law. The human ship flew through the stars, weaving between drifting rocks and broken satellites. The patrol ship stayed close behind, their sirens echoing across space. The little girl clung to her seat, her wide eyes full of fear. Elias's hands moved quickly across the controls. His face was calm, but his mind was sharp. Every second counted. If the patrol caught them, there would be no mercy. "Why don't they stop?" the girl cried. "Because they serve the law," Elias said, "and the law never bends." Far away, inside a shining city built of silver towers, the Galactic Council sat in a circle of light. Thousands of alien leaders floated, stood, or hovered in their seats, each representing a world, a system, a race. Above them, the great banner of the law glowed. The speaker's voice filled the chamber. "A human named Elias has taken an orphan from planet Vera. He resists patrol orders. This is a direct violation of Article 9. No guardian, no child." Whispers spread through the chamber. Some were shocked. Some were angry. A few were curious. But most agreed. The law had been challenged. The speaker's voice hardened. "The law is not a suggestion. It is order. Without it, the galaxy falls to chaos. The human must be captured. The child must be processed." Back in the ship, the little girl asked, "What will they do to me? If they take me?" Elias glanced at her, then looked away. He did not want to tell her the truth, but she deserved to know. His voice was low. "They will erase your name. They will erase your past. You will become a number, not a person, and you may never see the stars again." The girl shivered. "So the law, it kills?" "It doesn't kill with weapons," Elias said. "It kills with silence. It kills by taking away what makes you alive." She hugged herself, trying to be brave. "Then I don't want the law, I only want to live." Elias's eyes softened. "Then we fight." The patrol ships fired. Blue beams shot across space, striking near the human's ship. The hull shook. Sparks flew across the panels. The girl screamed. Elias pulled hard on the controls, diving into a field of broken asteroids. The patrol followed, but they were slower, heavier. Elias knew this was his only chance. "Hold on," he shouted. The ship spun between rocks, scraping metal, dodging fire. The girl shut her eyes tight, clutching her small bracelet. She whispered to herself, "Stay with me, Papa. Please." The patrol leader's voice rang through the comms. "Human, stop your flight. You cannot escape the law. Give up and your death will be swift." Elias smirked coldly. He pressed the comm button. "I don't care for your law. She stays with me." Static filled the channel as the patrol answered with rage. At last, Elias managed to break free of the asteroid field. The patrol slowed, unable to match his daring moves. For the moment, they were safe. The girl opened her eyes slowly. Her breath shook. "We made it? For now," Elias said. "But they'll keep hunting. They won't stop until one of us falls." The girl's voice trembled. "Why? Why do they hate so much?" Elias leaned back in his chair. His eyes looked far away, remembering. "Because the law is built on fear. Long ago, when wars tore across the stars, the Council promised order. They said no child could remain free without guardians. They said it was protection. Is it protection?" she asked softly. He shook his head. "No, it's control. The law makes sure no one grows outside their rules. But humans, we don't accept change so easily. That's why they fear us." The girl tilted her head. "So you fight because you are human?" Elias smiled faintly. "I fight because you deserve more than their cages." They drifted into quiet space. For the first time since the chase, silence filled the ship. The girl curled up beside Elias, her eyes still full of questions. "Will they always hate me?" she asked. Elias brushed a hand through her hair gently. "Maybe, but it doesn't matter. You're not alone anymore. Hate cannot break what we choose together." She held his sleeve tightly. "Then promise me again." He looked at her. "Promise what?" "That I can stay, forever." His voice was steady. "Yes, forever." Far away, the patrol captain sent a message to the council. His face was stern, his voice full of anger. "The human is clever. He knows our moves. He dares to mock the law. We request permission for extreme measures." The council chamber grew dark. The speaker raised a hand. "Permission granted. Bring the human alive. The child is optional." The patrol captain bowed. His eyes glowed red. "So be it." Back in the small ship, Elias watched the stars pass. He knew the storm was only beginning. The law would not rest. The council would not forgive. But as he looked down at the sleeping child, her tiny hand gripping his coat, his heart burned with iron fire. The galaxy might obey the law, but one human had chosen love over it, and he would not lose. The ship floated in the dark sea of stars. After the chase, silence filled the cabin. The engines hummed low, and the girl sat close to Elias, wrapped in the blanket he had given her. She still looked afraid, but her eyes no longer carried only fear. Now they carried something new. Trust. Elias checked the scanners. No patrol ships appeared nearby. For now they had escaped, but he knew it would not last. The Council's law never slept, the girl spoke softly. What will happen to us now? Elias turned to her, his face calm but serious. Now we hide. We stay away from the Council's eyes. And we live, the girl tilted her head. Is it living? If we're always running? Elias looked into her eyes. She was young, but she asked questions that weighed like stone. He gave a small smile. Living is not about where you are. It's about who you're with. As long as we're together, we're living. The girl thought about that. Slowly she nodded. Days passed. Elias repaired the ship, patching holes and fixing wires burned from the chase. The girl followed him everywhere, watching, asking questions. What is this? She asked, pointing at a strange tool. A spanner, Elias said. It helps me tighten things, she frowned. On my world, we tighten things with claws. No tool needed, Elias chuckled. Humans don't have claws. So we build tools, she smiled faintly. Then humans must be clever. Elias looked at her. Sometimes clever, sometimes foolish, but always stubborn. Her laugh was small but bright. For a moment, the cold ship felt warm. One evening, while Elias worked on the engine, the girl sat at the table with scraps of metal and wires. She bent them with tiny hands, shaping them carefully. When Elias returned, she showed him her creation. It was a bracelet made from silver wire, with small symbols scratched into it. Elias took it in his hand. What is this? It's a bond, she said. On my world, we give these to those we trust, so I give it to you. Elias stared at the bracelet for a long moment. His chest tightened. Gently, he slipped it onto his wrist. Then I'll never take it off. The girl's face lit up. Now you're part of my family. Elias knelt down. And you're part of mine. That night, the girl curled up to sleep. Before closing her eyes, she whispered, Good night, Papa Human. The words pierced Elias's heart. He had been called many things, doctor, traveler, outsider, but never something so simple, so pure. For a long time, he sat awake, watching the stars and remembering the child he had lost years ago. His promise grew stronger. This time he would not fail. But peace could not last. The ship's sensors beeped the next morning. Elias rushed to the controls. On the screen, a red signal pulsed. Patrol drones, small fast machines, were sweeping the sector. The girl ran to him. What's happening? Elias's voice was calm but sharp. They're searching. They'll find us if we're not careful. He shut down the engines, dimming the lights. The ship drifted silently through the void like a shadow in space. Elias held the girl close and whispered, Not a sound. Through the window, they watched the drones pass. Their red lights scanned the darkness, searching. One came close, too close. Its beam swept across the hull. The girl's breath caught in her throat. She gripped Elias's hand tightly. For a moment, Elias thought it was over. But the drone passed by, moving on with the others. Slowly, the danger faded into the distance. The girl collapsed against him in relief. I thought they would take us. Elias stroked her hair. Not while I'm here. Later, when the danger had passed, Elias prepared food. The girl ate quietly, then asked, Why do they want me so badly? I'm just small. I'm no danger. Elias's eyes darkened. Because the law is afraid. Afraid of what you might become if you grow free. They want to control you before you learn to stand tall. The girl frowned. But you don't want to control me. Elias shook his head. No, I want you to choose. To live, to laugh, to see the stars and know they are yours too. The girl studied him carefully, then smiled. Then I'll stay with you, forever. Elias returned her smile. Forever. But as they spoke far away, the patrol captain studied a map of the sector. His voice was cold. The human hides well, but he cannot hide forever. Deploy more drones. Close every path. He will break. His officers saluted. Yes, Captain. The hunt continued. Back in the small ship, the girl rested her head against Elias's shoulder. For the first time since her mother's death, she felt safe enough to dream. Elias looked down at her, then at the stars. His hand touched the bracelet on his wrist. It glowed faintly in the dim light. A bond had been formed, stronger than any law. A bond that the council would never understand. And Elias knew one truth with all his heart. If the galaxy wanted to break that bond, it would have to break him first. The warning lights blinked red across the ship's cabin. Elias's scanners screamed with alarm. Patrol ships had found them again. The little girl sat up quickly, her eyes wide with fear. "Papa Human, what is it?" Elias's voice was calm but tight. "They've caught our trail. Hold on." Outside the window, 2 black patrol cruisers slid out from the stars, their lights glowing like predators in the dark, their weapons charged, humming with deadly power. A cold voice echoed through the comm. "Human Elias, this is your final warning. Surrender the child and your execution will be swift. Resist and both of you will suffer." Elias smirked bitterly. Swift death or slow death? How much of a choice? The girl clutched his arm. "Don't let them take me." He glanced down at her. Never. And with that, he pushed the engines to full power. The ship roared forward, cutting through the void like a silver blade. The patrol cruisers followed faster than shadows. Blue fire streaked past the hull as they opened fire. Explosions rocked the ship, shaking the cabin. The girl screamed and grabbed her seat. Elias's hands flew across the controls. He rolled the ship sharply, dodging another blast. "Engines are overheating," the system warned. "I know," Elias muttered. "Just a little longer." He steered the ship toward a nearby asteroid field. Massive rocks floated in space, spinning slowly, glowing faintly with frozen minerals. The patrol captain sneered from his ship. "He thinks he can hide in stones, fool." Elias dove into the asteroid field. The ship weaved between massive boulders, slipping through cracks and narrow tunnels. The girl held her breath as rocks scraped against the hull. Sparks showered the cabin. The patrol followed, but their ships were larger, slower. They struggled to keep up. Still, they fired, blasting apart smaller asteroids, sending waves of debris crashing toward Elias's ship. A huge rock spun directly toward them. The girl cried out. Elias gritted his teeth, pulled hard on the controls, and skimmed past the surface with only meters to spare. The rock's shadow swallowed them for a moment, then released them back into open space. The girl's chest rose and fell quickly. "We almost died." Elias gave a faint smile. "Almost doesn't count." But luck was running thin. The ship's engines flickered. Warning alarm screamed again. "Engines failing," the system repeated. The girl's voice shook. "What do we do?" Elias's mind raced. He scanned the field. Hidden behind the largest asteroid was a narrow fissure like a secret passage. If he timed it right, they could vanish into it. If he missed, the ship would shatter. He made his choice. "Hold tight," he told her. "Trust me." She gripped her bracelet and whispered, "Forever." Elias turned the ship sharply and sped toward the fissure. The patrol ships saw his move. Their captain growled, "Block him!" They fired again, blasts raining across the field. One shot clipped Elias's wing, tearing metal, sending the ship spinning. The girl screamed. Elias fought the controls, sweat on his brow. The fissure grew closer. One chance, no second try. At the last moment, Elias cut the main engines and fired the thrusters sideways. The ship slipped through the crack like a ghost. The rocks closed behind them, hiding them in darkness. The patrol ship stopped short, too large to follow. Their captain cursed. "Find another way in." He cannot hide forever. But inside the fissure, Elias let out a long breath. For now they were safe. The narrow passage was dark and silent, only the ship's faint lights guiding the way. The girl clung to him, still shaking. "You're safe," Elias whispered. "I promised." She looked up at him, her eyes wet. "But how long can we run? They'll always find us." Elias touched the bracelet on his wrist. His voice was steady. "Then we don't just run. We fight smart. We stay ahead. And when the time comes, we'll make them regret chasing us." The girl tilted her head. "But you're only one human." He smiled faintly. "Sometimes one human is enough." Outside, the patrol regrouped. The captain stared at the asteroid field with cold fury. "This is no ordinary man," he said. "This is a human who dares to defy the galaxy." One officer asked, "Shall we wait?" The captain's eyes burned red. "No, we hunt, until he breaks." Back inside the ship, Elias slowed the engines to silence. He guided the ship deeper into the fissure. Strange lights glowed faintly on the walls, ancient carvings, symbols from a lost civilization. The girl pressed her face against the window. "What is that?" Elias frowned. "I don't know. But it means someone once lived here." The symbols pulsed faintly as if alive. For a moment, the girl felt warmth spread through her bracelet. She touched it, confused. Elias noticed but said nothing. Finally, the ship stopped in a hollow space inside the rock. It was safe, at least for a little while. The girl leaned against Elias, exhausted. "I'm not afraid when I'm with you," she whispered. He looked down at her, his voice quiet. "And I'm stronger because of you." She smiled faintly before falling asleep. Elias watched her breathing, steady and calm. The chase was not over. The patrol would return. The council would not rest. But in this hidden place, a bond stronger than law, stronger than fear, was growing, and Elias knew that when the time came, he would not only run, he would stand. The hollow space inside the asteroid was silent. Elias's ship rested in the shadows, its engines cooling. For now they were safe, but Elias knew it would not last. Patrol ships would scan the field again, and sooner or later they would find this hiding place. The girl sat beside him, her small hands gripping the blanket tightly. Her wide eyes searched his face. "Papa Human, will they come again?" Elias nodded slowly. "Yes, they will never stop." Her voice trembled. "Then what do we do?" Elias looked out at the glowing carvings on the asteroid walls. Strange symbols pulsed softly like a heartbeat. He felt as though the rock itself was alive, whispering secrets from the past. "We have two choices," he said. "We can surrender, or we can go forward." The girl tilted her head. "Forward, where?" Elias pointed to the scanners. Ahead of them lay a nebula, swirling clouds of blue and gold, beautiful but deadly. Ships that entered never returned. The council had marked it forbidden space. The girl shivered. "If we go there, will we die?" Elias met her eyes. "Maybe, but if we surrender, the council will take you. That is death of another kind." The girl hugged herself, torn between fear and hope. What if I only make trouble for you? If you let me go, you could live. They don't hate humans the same way." Elias's face hardened. "I told you once, I will not leave you. I lost someone before. I will not lose you too." The girl's voice cracked. "But I'm not strong. I can't fight. I'm just a child." Elias leaned down, his voice steady. "Strength is not about fighting. Strength is choosing to keep living, even when the galaxy tells you not to, and you, little one, are stronger than you know." Her eyes filled with tears. She reached out and grabbed his hand. "Then don't let me go." Elias squeezed her hand. "Never." He stood and walked to the controls. His fingers hovered above the switches. The nebula loomed ahead, a storm of light and shadow. It seemed to breathe, alive with mystery. The girl whispered, "You would risk everything. For me?" Elias smiled faintly. "Not for you alone. For what you represent. A chance to prove that the law cannot crush every soul. That one child's freedom is worth the whole galaxy's anger." He pressed a button. The engines roared back to life. Far away, the patrol captain received a signal. The drones had found a heat trail leading toward the nebula. The captain's eyes glowed red with fury. "He dares," the captain hissed. "He dares to enter forbidden space." One officer spoke nervously. "Captain, no ship has ever returned from the nebula. Shall we pursue?" The captain slammed a fist on the console. "Yes. If the human escapes into that storm, it will be a stain on the law itself. Prepare the fleet." Inside the ship, the girl clutched her bracelet tightly as the nebula drew closer. The colors shimmered like liquid fire, both beautiful and terrifying. Her voice was small. "Papa Human, what if we vanish inside? What if forever ends?" Elias placed a hand on her shoulder. His voice was quiet but full of power. "Forever doesn't end. Not as long as we keep our promise." She nodded slowly, her fear mixing with trust. The ship crossed the boundary. Immediately, everything changed. The stars vanished, swallowed by swirling mist. The panels flickered. Time itself seemed to stretch and twist. The girl gasped. Her bracelet glowed faintly. The symbols on the asteroid wall now burning in her memory. "Papa, it feels like it's alive," she whispered. Elias tightened his grip on the controls. "Stay close to me. Whatever happens, don't let go." The nebula's clouds wrapped around them, whispering voices echoing in the cabin. The ship shook violently. Alarms screamed. Space bent, showing visions of other places, other times. The girl clung to him. I'm scared. Elias held her with one arm while steering with the other. I'm here. I won't let go. You're safe. Behind them, patrol ships entered the edge of the nebula. Immediately, two of them vanished in flashes of light, torn apart by storms of gravity. The captain's ship pushed forward stronger, driven by rage. Human! His voice thundered over the comm. You cannot escape the law, not even here. Elias's face hardened. Watch me. The nebula roared like a living beast. Lightning tore across the clouds. Time fractured. The girl saw flashes. Her mother's face, Elias's past, the future she might never reach. She cried out, shaking. Elias pulled her close, whispering into her ear. Listen to me, look at me. Not at the storm. You're here with me, forever. She buried her face against him, her trembling slowing as his steady voice drowned out the chaos. The ship plunged deeper, toward the nebula's heart. The scanners failed. The system shut down. Only Elias's hands and his will guided them now. At last, silence fell. The storm faded into calm. They drifted into a hollow of pure light, a place untouched by time. The girl lifted her head slowly, her eyes wide. We made it? Elias nodded, though his breath was heavy. We did. At least for now. The girl smiled through her tears. She pressed her bracelet against his hand. Then I'm not afraid anymore. Elias looked into her eyes, his voice firm and gentle. You never have to be. Not while I live. Far behind them, the patrol captain's ship struggled against the storm. His voice was filled with rage. No human escapes. Not even into the abyss. But the nebula closed around him like a trap, swallowing his ship into silence. In the heart of forbidden space, a human and a child floated together, bound by a promise stronger than law, stronger than fear, and Elias knew the truth. He had made his choice. Forever had just begun. The nebula's heart was a place of silence. The ship drifted through glowing clouds of gold and silver. Time itself seemed to pause. No stars shone, no patrol ships chased. Only Elias and the little girl remained, wrapped in a strange calm. The girl pressed close to him, her small hands gripping his coat. Her voice was soft, almost afraid to disturb the quiet. Papa Human. Where are we? Elias looked through the window. The clouds shimmered, bending like waves of light. He had never seen anything like it. Somewhere the galaxy has forgotten. Somewhere even the law cannot reach. The girl tilted her head. Then we are safe? Elias's eyes narrowed. Safe for now. But the nebula is alive. We must be careful. As if answering his words, the ship shook. The walls hummed. Lights flickered. Elias rushed to the controls, his hands steady. The girl gasped. Is it the patrol? No, Elias said. It's the nebula itself. It tests us. Suddenly, visions filled the cabin. Memories, fears, dreams. The girl saw her mother's face, reaching out, whispering her name. She cried out, reaching back. Mama! Elias grabbed her shoulders firmly. It's not real. Look at me. Tears streamed down her cheeks. But I miss her. I want her. Elias's voice softened, but his grip stayed strong. I know I miss her too. But she gave you to me. She wanted you to live. And you are living. With me, the vision faded. The girl collapsed against him, sobbing. Elias held her tight, whispering, Forever, remember? Forever, but the nebula was not done. This time Elias saw visions. His past. A small child's laughter. A face he had lost long ago. The pain of failure. The judgment of the council. The voices whispered, You cannot save her either. You will lose again. His hands trembled for a moment. He almost believed it. But then he felt a tug at his coat. The girl looked up at him, her eyes red but steady. You saved me, she said simply. Elias blinked, the visions fading. His voice grew firm again. Yes, and I will keep saving you. The nebula's glow softened as if it had heard and accepted his vow. Hours passed. The ship floated deeper into the calm center. Here space was warm and quiet, almost like a cradle. The girl finally smiled, a real smile, not broken by fear. It feels like home, she whispered. Elias watched her, his chest heavy but full. Then maybe this is where we belong. She reached for his hand. Promise me again. Promise I can stay forever. Elias looked into her eyes. His voice was steady, filled with iron and love. Yes, you can stay forever. No law, no council, no storm can take you away. The words echoed in the cabin, strong and clear, but peace was fragile. Far outside the nebula, one patrol ship had survived. Damaged, but alive. The captain's rage burned hotter than the storm. His voice snarled. The human thinks he has escaped, but the law does not forget. We will wait. We will find him, and when we do, there will be no mercy. The hunt was not over. Back in the heart of the nebula, Elias began repairing the ship, making sure it could survive long journeys. The girl helped, passing him tools, smiling proudly when he praised her. You're learning fast, Elias said. She lifted her chin. I'll be useful. I'll help you. Then you'll never be alone again. Elias paused, touched by her words. He reached out and fastened the bracelet she had given him. And you'll never be alone either. Later, when the girl was asleep, Elias sat at the window, staring at the strange lights outside. He thought about the council, about the patrol, about the law. The galaxy might never forgive him. One day they might find him, but he also thought about the girl's laughter, her trust, her small voice calling him Papa Human. And he knew one truth more powerful than any fear. The law was strong, but love was stronger. When the girl awoke, she crawled into his lap and looked at the endless glow of the nebula. Do you think one day we can see the stars again? Not just hiding, but free? Elias smiled softly. Yes, one day. And when we do, you'll walk among them as yourself, not a number, not a prisoner. Free. Her eyes shone. And you'll be with me? Always, he said. Forever? She asked again, her voice hopeful. Forever, Elias whispered, kissing the top of her head. And so the story of the human and the orphan girl began to spread, carried quietly by whispers through the stars. Some said they vanished into the nebula, never to be seen again. Others said they would return one day, proof that compassion could defy the coldest law. But for Elias and the girl, none of that mattered. All that mattered was the bond they had chosen, the promise they had made, a promise that echoed across space, stronger than fear, stronger than the galaxy itself. You can stay forever.